has stopped buffering and the stream is online. So I can see that Shubhodeep, you have joined, but I would request you to retype your section and roll number. Okay, since I think I was not online when you had typed in. So please, all of you, join the live session and start keying in your attendance for the roll number and section for your basically attendance in the live session. Okay. So as I have already shared a pre-recorded YouTube link. Basically it is nothing but the link of yesterday's theory class that Oyon sir had taken. Okay, so basically you had all attended that session and you know the basics of function. So that was the prerequisite of today's lab wherein we will do programs using function. As you can see that I have already given you an assignment on function that you are supposed to solve. So before going into the assignments and before going into anything else for that matter, if you have any doubts regarding yesterday's class or anything regarding function, you can ask me for the time being. Then I'll straight away move on to explaining a little bit about the assignments that I have given you, and you'll be solving the assignments. Okay. I'm waiting for more people to join because only around 20 people are there, whereas there should be around 50 people. So just join this session and we'll start. So since you have had some exposure regarding functions and you have had some concepts of call by value and call by reference using functions already imparted to you, so I have given you an assignment which you find wherein you have been asked to find, it's otherwise a simple program. You have been asked to find that given the radius of a circle, you must find the area and the perimeter of that circle, right? So it's on face it's just a simple program, but there are certain constraints. Not only do you have to use a function for that, but you are also told that you must pass. So the form of the function is clear. It is mentioned. What is it? That you have to pass one input by value, which is the radius. It is clearly mentioned that the radius must be passed as an argument to the function that calculates your area and parameter, and the radius must be passed by value. Also, it is mentioned that the other two parameters, so basically the function will contain how many parameters? As per the question, 3 parameters. One is the radius and the other two are the area and perimeter. Okay, so area, radius, perimeter, these 3 must be the arguments to the function. Not only is that told, but it is also told that 2 of the parameters, that is perimeter and area, must be sent as call by reference, sent as references, and the radius must be sent by value. Okay, so this is a constraint that you must keep in mind while doing the program. right? So if we try to do it, then how shall we go about this? And why is it that I'm being asked to pass two parameters by reference, or two arguments by reference and one argument by value? What is the use of this? Basically, this particular program, it illustrates what you can say is a certain concept regarding functions. So if you notice, so if you think, you will be able to think of one particular property that a function has got, that a C programming function has got, user defined function has got, or for that matter any function has got, is that at a time it cannot return more than one value. So if you think about a function, for one particular condition it can return only a single value. Okay, it cannot return multiple values. So I cannot write a function, say for example, just I'm taking for example, say I have a function int abc and I have passed values, say int a, int b and int c. Say suppose, okay, I have a function whose name is abc, I have named the function as abc, and I have passed three parameters to the function of the name a, b and c. So these three are what? They are nothing but the formal arguments, if you remember. So whatever we write over here, the arguments, the variables depicting the arguments in the definition of the function, those variables, they form the formal arguments, right? Now inside, if I do something like this, if I find a, say for example, I'm using this function for assigning values to a, b and c. So say suppose I write a equal to 2, b equal to 3 and c equal to 5. Then what have I done? I have assigned three different values to the three parameters. If I want to get all these three values from the place where I call the function from, then is it possible to write return a comma b comma c? Is this a valid statement? It is not a valid statement. This is something which is not possible. We cannot do this. Okay, we can have multiple return statements, but those return statements at a time can execute only one of them. So I can have a condition like this: if some condition a equal to 2, then return a. Else, suppose I write return b. This is possible because at a time in this, under this condition, a will assume either the value 2 or it will not assume the value 2. So at a time these two return statements won't execute. Any one of them will execute at one instance of that function. So this is a valid statement. This is correct, but we cannot do something like this. So if I ask you to find the area and perimeter of a circle by using a single user defined function, then it won't be possible for you to write that function that returns both the area and perimeter at the same time, right? That is the reason, that is the very reason we go for call by reference. So if you have a constraint like this, so I'll just check whether you have any doubts or not so far. If you have any such constraint wherein you are asked to write a single user defined function, not multiple functions, at the same time which will calculate two different quantities. Since we know that it is not possible for a function to return more than one quantities at the same time, hence we have to go for call by reference under this circumstance, where both the area and perimeter must be calculated by that single function, and we must be able to get hold of the calculated values from the main function from where we will call the function that calculates these values. Okay, that is a main reason why we have kept these constraints. That is the main reason why I have given this assignment, in order to explain the concept, the situation where we should go for call by reference. Is it clear? So now let us look at the program and how we can accomplish this task of returning both the area and perimeter from the single function. Okay. Okay. So if you have any doubt regarding the lesson that I am teaching now or the lesson that was taught yesterday, you please feel free to ask in the chat box. So basically, alright, fine. So since we have the constraint of the arguments of that particular function, and we also know that together we cannot return two values, so what we do is we define the function prototype as, we declare the prototype of this function as, say, int for the radius. And since we know that the value of area is calculated by pi r square, where r is the radius and the value of the perimeter is 2 pi r, that is why these values will come as floating point values, because pi is 3.14, right? So we will take the data types of area and perimeter as float. Okay, so float star, again float star. This is the prototype declaration for the function. Is it clear? So void, sorry, I forgot the name of the function. Just one sec. Void, say I name the function as area peri, because that is what this function is doing, and I'm sending int float star and float star. Right? So this is my prototype. Right? So if we come to our main function, we simply have int radius float area and perimeter. Right? Okay. So these are the variables that I must take. Now radius must be taken as input, so you will write your printf statement here, scanf statement here. I'm not writing them. Okay. After taking the radius as input from the user, now nothing else must be done in main. We will simply go to our function wherein the calculation will be done. So the next statement will be the function call, after which we must have a print statement wherein we will print the values. So the area is %f, area. Similarly, the perimeter is %f again. Perimeter. Right? So these are the statements which are normal. These are also the printf and scanf. They are also something that you will be able to write. Now we come to our function call. Okay, so we will call our function area peri over here, and we would pass the arguments. So what do you think will be the arguments that we will pass here? Obviously, the first one should be the value of the radius that must be provided. So, radius by value is indicated by simply mentioning the name of the variable, and we must send what? The references of the variables area and perimeter, or the addresses of area and perimeter, naturally, which is denoted by ampersand area and ampersand perimeter. Right? So this is the address of the floating point value. So float star, again this is the address, ampersand of the floating point variable, that is the float star. So I hope the function call is clear. If you have any doubt regarding the function call, you can ask me in the chat box. Alright. So up to this it is clear. Now I will just rub this off, this entire thing, because this is something that you have already understood, you'll be able to write. I'll explain the actual definition of the function. Okay, so I'm just rubbing this entire thing off, right, from void main. So if we look at what happens in the memory, so we have 3 locations, that is the radius, 2 more locations, area and perimeter. So say this location is 1000, this is 2000 and this is 3000. And say the value of the radius I have provided it as 5. I have taken the value 5 as input and these are to be calculated, right? So let us look at the definition of my function area peri. Okay, so when I am writing the definition, so previously what I wrote was the prototype declaration. So the semicolon at the end would automatically indicate that we are using the prototype, right? Now I would actually write the definition. So suppose I name R float star, I name the second argument as A for area and float star P for the perimeter. So basically what we have done is we have given rise to 3 more copies of variables. We have given rise to 3 copies of variables, wherein the variable R gets the copy of this. So R now contains 5. What should be the content of A and what should be the content of P? So can I get answers from you? I'm asking what would be the contents of A and P. Just by looking at the entire figure and whatever I have explained so far, you must tell me what should I write in the boxes corresponding to A and P. I want answers in the chat box. Very good. I have got the correct answer at the first shot from Shapnonil. Thank you, Shapnonil. It should be 2000 and 3000. Right? Right? So we are actually making the variables A and P point to the locations occupied by the variables area and perimeter, right? So now if I make any calculation using this particular reference, using this particular address, naturally I'll be able to store it in the original location, the location of the actual parameters. So these are my formal arguments. R, A and P are the formal arguments, and radius, area and perimeter are my actual arguments, right? So if I use the references that I have got in the formal arguments A and P, I would actually be able to make the change. I would actually be able to access these locations that can be dereferenced using these. So what should be the statements inside? So I have to calculate area. So I must access this. So how do I get in this box? A contains 2000. 2000 means this box. So if I want to enter the 2000 box, I must write star of A. So the area that I wish to calculate should be stored in star of A. That means inside the box 2000. And what is that area? It is pi r square. So it is nothing but 3.14 into r, where r is this. I'm getting the value of r from the first argument of my area peri function, right? Similarly, perimeter will be calculated by 2 pi r. Right? I'm calculating 2 pi r, and where am I storing this? In star p. P means 3000, star p means this location. So the values will be actually stored in the original actual arguments instead of getting stored here. So what am I being able to do? I'm able to write a single user defined function using the concept of call by reference. I'm actually being able to store the values of area and perimeter in the actual arguments, which I have printed in the main function. So what was the last statement of the main function? What was the statement after the call to the area peri function? So after I have called this function, I have executed all this. In the main function, what did I do? I simply printed the values of the variables area and perimeter, which now actually contain the values of the area and perimeter inside them, owing to writing this. So that's all we have to write in this function, right? So we actually are not returning anything. So now can you understand the significance of this void? Why I had taken this as void despite the fact that I have to actually return multiple values, because I'm really not returning anything, right? This particular function doesn't have anything to return because it is equipped with that powerful tool of call by reference. It can make use of that powerful tool of call by reference, wherein it really doesn't require to return anything at all, but it can accomplish the task of returning values in the main function. Is it clear? So this is the main logic of the first assignment that I have given to you. It's not only an example of call by reference, it is a use that call by reference has got, that we could exploit that particular concept of call by reference in order to accomplish something like this. Hope I am clear about this program. If you have any further doubts, you can ask me in the chat box. Okay. So that was all regarding this one. Okay. So if you have any problems regarding this, any doubts, you can still ask me. Okay. Okay. Yes, so Utsav has been asking the question that why we cannot use getSH. Basically, the conio.h header file is not there. in Ubuntu compiler, we do not use any of the functions that are present in Conaio. The reason that sir has stated, we do not actually need them. Okay, it's not required when we are using that Ubuntu compiler, the GCC compiler for that matter. Okay, so moving on to the next problem that I have given, it's a very simple problem. First, you have to find the value of NCR using factorial. So basically, you have to write the factorial function, which I won't write for you. It's a simple function. You have to call that function 3 times. Once for finding n factorial, once for finding r factorial, another time for finding n minus r factorial. So that is also a program which actually, it tells us the use of writing a function. So if we have asked to find NCR, so all of us know how to write the logic for finding factorial, isn't it? We know how to write the loop for finding a factorial of a number. So if we do not use a function for that, then what do we have to do? We have to rewrite the same loop 3 times for finding n factorial once, for finding r factorial once, for finding n minus r factorial once, which is not very efficient. This is a very reason why we go for function. It is performing a single task. It is coherently performed and kept aside, wherein we could use that task as many times as we require in our program. Okay, it enables us to simplify our work. That is why we write modules. That is why we write functions. Okay, so in order to illustrate the requirements, the use, the need of writing a function, we have given you the second assignment of finding NCR. Okay, the third assignment that I have given you. Okay, so so far I think you do not have any more doubts. The third assignment that I have given you is a very simple assignment again. So in the previous lab we have done we have written the program how to find the length of a string without using the string library function strlen. So today you will write the same logic by using a function. So what you wrote inside the very main function, now you have to make a separate function. So I have also specified the name of that function. I have given the name as my strlen. So it's your own strlen that you will write. You will pass the required parameter. You will write your required return type, wherein in the function you will simply calculate the length of the string. Okay. So since you are calculating the length of the string, it's imperative that the return type must be integer, because you are returning the length. It is nothing but an integer. I'm leaving this up to you. So you already know how to take an array as input, right? So what do you have to do? You have to take the pointer. You must take the address of the array. A character array, a string is nothing but a character array. So if we wish to pass the string to the function, which we have to do in this case because we are trying to find the length of the string, so this must be given, the argument must be given as the string whose length we are trying to find. And how shall we pass the argument? We must pass the base address of the string. So the base address being a pointer to a character type variable, obviously the argument should be char star. Okay, so if I write the prototype, so I have already mentioned this, I'm giving it up to you. So int my strlen char star. That is what we must write in the prototype. The rest of it you write on your own. So you must write your own logic. You can use a while loop, a for loop, or whatever you wish, but the actual calculation of the length of the string must be written inside the function. From main we will just call my strlen and we would print the value of the length of the string, right? So these are the 3 simple assignments that I have given to you. So you get back, do them, and you also answer the IEM quiz, which has been already set, and by the end of the day you must submit this assignment back to us. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any doubt regarding any of these or anything else, you can ask. I'm still here. I'll just check once. Yeah, Utsav, you're moving a lot ahead. We haven't yet covered structures. We'll be discussing nested structures. So as sir has already written what it means, basically a member of the structure is a structure itself. That is what is meant by a nested structure. So what do we mean by a nested for loop? A for inside a for. Similarly, a struct inside a struct. So what do we know about elements of a structure? Structure members are what? The elements that form the members of the structure. So if I define a structure, it can contain an integer variable, a floating point variable, a character variable. It can also contain a structure type variable. Okay, so if a member of that very structure itself is a structure type variable, that would be a nested structure. So we will cover all these in the coming weeks. So stay tuned and listen to the lectures, join the live sessions, assignments and quiz, and you'll be all set. And you remember today from 5 o'clock there's a meeting on the behalf of President of IEM. So I would also request all of you to join it. It will give you a good insight as to what is going to happen in the coming days and how you should prepare yourself. You should actually arm yourself so that you can face this crisis. Actually, I don't know whether it is actually a crisis situation that we are facing. So obviously you must prepare yourselves. We are not in a very good position to forecast or predict what lies in front of us. So we have to prepare ourselves with it according to that. So with regards to that, President sir will be addressing all of you. Please join that session. All of you already have been notified. So do the classes diligently, and today do not forget to attend that live session. Okay, so if you have any more doubts, you can still ask me then. Otherwise, I'll just end my session over here, and those who do not have doubts, you just go straight away and start doing your assignments. Okay, I think no more doubts, so I'll end my session here. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. We'll meet again next week.